Welcome back at another tutorial about the wavestate native. When you watch the other tutorials, you have some basic knowledge about how to program the wavestate native, and in this new sound design series we are going to take a look at how to apply those techniques to your own sounds. In this tutorial we are going to create an ambient bell sound, and we are going to use a producer technique that's called the power of half. And what that means is that you basically divide the tempo and the octave by 2, so that you get different kind of rhythms and patterns based on the same sequence. So let's look at how to set that up. We are going to create an init performance again. Here it is. And we have the standard synth to saw sound. Okay, great. And what we are going to do is we create a rhythmic pattern for this, and that means that we are going to use the timing lane in tempo. We set the crossfade to off, and we only need one step for this, and we set it to 1/8, which is the default. We are going to use one sample, and that sample will be in the Bell Mallet category, and it's called Bell Guru Lively Vibes. So if you try it now, you will hear something like this. And that's what we want. So let's set an amp envelope on that and add something like this. Decay from around 2.8, no sustain and no release. And we need to set the source trigger to step pulse. If this goes way too quick for you, then watch the tutorials where I explain all these techniques in a much slower pace, but I consider that now for this series as no knowledge. So now we have a sound where the decay at 2.3 seconds determines this sound. So let's create a pitch pattern for this. We create an 8-lane layer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and set the loop points accordingly. And let's create something like a 1, a 5th, a 4, and a 12. Yeah, that sounds great. So let's set that pitch pattern 0, 7, 5, 7 again, plus 12, 0, plus 7, or plus 5, no, plus 7, and plus 5, something like this. Let's listen. Yeah, that's good. So we have created a specific pitch pattern now. Let's add a reverb on top of that. You can use an hall reverb, but use something like this where we create an output of 30, 70, large time and large size. So that is already the pattern that we are going to use, and now we are going to use the trick of the power of half, and that means that we are going to copy this layer 4 times. We copy it to layer B, to layer C, and to layer D. Okay, so we have this layer here, and this is the highest note that we want to use when we play the pattern. So that means that we have to set the octave 2 times up. A nice 1/8 pattern. And we are going to do the same now for layer B, but in this case we are going to lower the octave. We divide it by 2 to plus 1. The layer A was plus 2, layer 1 is plus 1. And what we also do is divide the layer of the timing, so that means that the 1/8 will be a 1/4. So when we play this together now, so basically every note now is twice the length of the layer A, and it's played in a lower key. So let's do the same for layer C. Layer B was 1/4, and we are going to divide it by 2, so it's now half, 1, 2. And we leave the octave at 0 because layer B has +1, so layer C has to be 0. So that means that layer A is the quick pattern, layer B is slowed down in half, is slowed down by 2, and layer C is also slowed down by 2 for layer B. And we are going to do the same for layer D, and we were on for layer C on half, so slow it down again. It's now whole notes, and we are going to use a pitch pattern of -1. And then it's finished. You have created an ambient bell with lots of things that work together, and here is the final sound. Now you can do all kind of things that make it more interesting. For instance, that top layer, let's create an extra sample on top of that, and for instance use one from the bell mallet category and sunset circle, for instance. But we don't want to hear that too often, so set the probability to around 30, something like this, and let's hear it now. You hear it occasionally comes in. So very nice trick, easy to do. It's used a lot by producers in ambient songs to slow down the same pattern multiple times, and the wavestate can easily do that.